welcome back to Akshata's Recipes and welcome if you're new here. So today's recipe is gulacha sheera, which is made with jaggery. Now you can use any jaggery that you have at hand, which you use generally in your diet. And don't forget to use the nutmeg as well as the cardamom or the elaichi powder also in this recipe. Watch the video till the end because I'll give you tips on how to make the nutmeg powder and the elaichi powder too. So let's get started with today's recipe. So let me take you through the ingredients. This is 1 vati of fine rava or semolina. Now if you don't have the fine rava or semolina, you can use the medium or the thick one and just grind it in your mixer pot till it becomes nice and fine. Now this is 1 vati of jaggery or gourd. You can use any type of gourd or jaggery. This is 3 cups of water. Now I'm using this vati measure, but if you don't have vatis, you can use the cup measure. So this is about half a cup of mixed dry fruits. So I have cashew nuts, almonds and kishmish or raisins. I'm going to be using a pinch of salt and about 10 teaspoons of ghee or clarified butter. Now this is half a teaspoon of elaichi or cardamom powder. That is, I've used 3 small green elaichis or cardamoms, and this is 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg or zaifal powder grated. So these are all the ingredients. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first add the grated jaggery or gourd to my water. And we're just going to mix it. And then I'm going to put it onto, so first give it a nice mix like this. Now I've grated the jaggery just using, a sharp knife. And now I'm just going to put it on a low to medium heat and I'm going to stir this till all of the jaggery dissolves and it comes to a gentle boil. Now turn off the heat and now we're going to strain this liquid because sometimes the jaggery does have a little bit of impurities. So give it a good strain. So now in my pan I've taken the rava and I'm going to dry roast the rava for at least 2 minutes on a low to medium flame, stirring continuously till the rava gives a nice aroma and it turns a little light golden brown in color. Now once that is done, turn off the heat and transfer it to another pan or another bowl. And now with your clean dry kitchen napkin, just wipe out your pan. Now we're going to use the same pan in which I'm going to put 4 teaspoons of clarified butter or ghee. And now I'm going to add my dry fruits, that is the cashew nuts, the almonds and the raisins or the kishmish, and I'm just going to lightly fry them till the cashew nuts and the almonds turn a little golden brown in color. So for say a half a minute or a minute. Now once that is done, just take off all the fried dry fruits. And now I'm going to add another 4 teaspoons of clarified butter or ghee. And now I'm going to add the roasted semolina or the rava into the ghee, and now we're going to fry this really well in the ghee. Now I'm going to add this zaifal powder or nutmeg powder as well as the cardamom or elaichi powder, and again mix everything really well together. I'm also going to add a pinch of salt, just a pinch. Fry this really well. And now we're going to add this jaggery water. It's a little bit hot, so be careful. And once you add the water, do not stir at all, but just cover it immediately. And we're going to cook this on a low to medium heat for just half a minute. Now after half a minute, you will see that everything has come together really well. And now we're going to stir it and you will see that it starts leaving the sides of the vessel and all comes together. So keep stirring it for another minute, add the dry fruits back and mix everything really well together. So it's got a lovely color because of the jaggery. Now if you use a darker jaggery like a Goa jaggery or palm sugar jaggery, you'll get a much darker color. So now mix it and we're going to cook this for at least another whole minute. Stirring well. And now what I like to do is I just like to add another 2 teaspoons of clarified butter. Then I turn off the flame and I just put the cover and let it cool down for another 5 minutes. And now it's all ready to serve. Our lovely gulacha sheera is ready. So I've just taken a bowl. I've just greased the bowl a little with some clarified butter. just a little, a drop of clarified butter. And now I'm just going to mix all of this sheera nicely together. So then I'm going to fill this about 3/4 of the size of the bowl. And then I'm going to press it down nicely. Don't forget to grease the bowl, that way the sheera will come out nicely. Or if you have a mold, like an aluminium mold, then you can use that. And then just put it on the plate, and it just slips off very easily. You can just pat it once or twice, and there it is. And then you can just garnish it with some nuts, like I've done with some cashew nuts. And that's it, guys. Your lovely sheera using jaggery is ready, and it is super delicious. Which is made out of jaggery, and it gets ready also in no time. So here I've taken 1 cup of yellow moong dal, washed it thrice under water, and I'm going to soak it for about 2 hours in about 3 cups of water. Now after 2 hours, you're going to drain all the water out, and you're going to grind this to a very smooth paste. And it should look like this, so you don't need to add any water when grinding the paste, and transfer this to a bowl. Now in a pot, I'm going to add 1 cup of water. To that, I'm going to add 1 cup of grated gourd or jaggery or gourd. You can use any type of jaggery that you regularly use in your food and in your cooking. Stir it a bit. And then we're going to cook this on a low to medium flame till the jaggery or the gourd completely dissolves. So this should take you about 2 to 3 minutes. You can stir it in between, and it will dissolve and look like this. Now in a separate pan, I'm going to heat about half a cup of ghee. Now this moong dal does require a little bit more of ghee. Moong dal halwa. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of semolina or rava. I like using the fine rava, but you can even use whatever rava you have, the thick or the medium. And I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of besan or chickpea flour. Just stir the two together in the ghee. See that your ghee is nice and hot on a low to medium flame. And now we're going to grind this moong dal paste. We're going to add the moong dal paste rather. And you're going to stir all the 3 ingredients really well for at least 2 to 3 minutes. We want all these 3 ingredients to get nicely cooked in the ghee. So keep stirring it and see that you mix everything together. And you will see that the moong dal immediately starts to absorb all of the ghee. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cardamom or elaichi powder. So I've taken 3 cardamom pods and I've made a powder in my mortar and pestle. So ensure that you fry this in the ghee for 2 to 3 minutes. You can use a flat spatula like this. And now I'm going to strain this jaggery syrup that we prepared and add it to this fried mixture and keep stirring it. And you will see that the consistency will immediately change from a lumpy consistency to a very smooth consistency, almost like a sheera. And keep on stirring it for another 2 to 3 minutes till it starts leaving the sides of the pan, and then add some dry fruits and just cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes. And that's it, guys. Your lovely moong dal halwa is all ready and it's super delicious. So do try out this recipe and let me know how you like this recipe. Thank you so much for joining. Lovely Goan cucumber cake or tausiache mandos. It's super easy. Now here I've taken 1 cup of rice, washed it thrice well under water, and now I'm going to soak it in 3 cups of water for 2 hours at least. This is very important that you soak the rice for 2 hours. So just cover it and set it aside. Now I've taken 4 medium cucumbers. I'm just showing you 2, but I've taken 4 medium cucumbers, washed them really well, and I've also peeled them. Then I've cut off the tips and I'll do a taste test, and if the cucumbers are bitter, then please discard them. And now we're going to cut them lengthwise like this, and with a spoon I'm just going to scoop out all of the center, that is the seeds, etc. We're not going to use that. So you can, put this in your plants, etc. Don't throw it into the garbage. You can put it in your plants. Just a small tip here. And then I'm just going to roughly chop up the cucumbers. And I should get about 1 cup of these chopped cucumbers. Now you can use any cucumbers. I got my hands on these. Otherwise you can use the dark green ones or whatever you're really used to using. And now once I've done that, I'm going to add the cucumbers to a mixer jar along with 1 cup of desiccated coconut. Now you can also substitute it with fresh coconut. I like the taste of the desiccated coconut in this cake, so I'm using that. And now I'm just going to grind that to a very fine paste. Now after 2 hours, the rice has nicely got soaked, so I'm going to drain out all the excess water. And I'm going to add this to my mixer jar. And I'm also going to be adding 1 cup of grated jaggery. Now you can use any jaggery, the Goa jaggery or the light, colored jaggery, whatever you have at hand. And I'm going to just add about 1/4 cup of water to help the grinding process. And we're going to grind this to a very, very smooth and fine paste like this. So you can transfer that to a bowl too. And now we're going to make the batter for this cucumber cake. So into a large bowl, I'm going to add both of these pastes that we ground just now. To that, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of clarified butter or ghee. So I've just melted the butter, the clarified butter. Now in the meantime, just preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of elaichi powder or cardamom powder, as well as about 10 to 12 chopped up cashew nuts. And now you just have to mix everything really well together to get a nice batter. Mix this well so that the elaichi or the cardamom powder also gets nicely mixed up with the rest of the ingredients. And now I've just lined my cake tin with some butter paper. And I'm going to pour the batter into this cake tin. Now this is a 7x7 round cake tin. Then just give it a gentle tap, and now you're going to put it in your preheated oven and bake it at 180 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes. Now after 45 minutes, we're just going to do the test to see whether the cake is ready. So I'm just going to insert a knife into the cake, and if it comes out clean, that means it's ready. If yours doesn't come out clean, just put it back into the oven and bake it for about another 5 to 10 minutes. And once the cake is at room temperature, we're going to demold it, take off the butter paper, and now I'm just going to turn it over to the right side. And there your beautiful cucumber cake is ready. So now we're just going to decorate it with some cashew nuts. So I've just taken the cashew nut, cut them into halves like this, and decorated the cake. Remember, we also have cashew nuts in the cake, so it makes it all the more better. And that's it, guys. Your lovely cucumber cake is all ready. So just dig in and enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome back to Akshata's Recipes. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I've come up with a new recipe of sweet potato kheer, which is really delicious and very healthy too. So we're not going to be using any sugar in this recipe, and it's super delicious. So let's start with the video, the recipe, and join me at the end of the recipe because I have a few important tips for this recipe so that you get it perfect and all the other alternatives you can use in the recipe. So let's jump into the recipe and meet me after the recipe. A real easy recipe and looks really delicious and something you would really want to try. Now, not everyone is a fan of sweet potato, but sweet potato is really healthy. It's also good for weight loss. Instead, if you like potatoes and you're not eating, you cannot eat potatoes because of it's health reasons, then sweet potato would be a good alternative. Also, I'm not using any sugar in this recipe, so again it's a healthy recipe. I'm substituting it with gourd or jaggery as some of you say. And also I am using milk, which is coconut milk. Now, instead of coconut milk, you can also use regular milk. You know, if you don't want to go through the process of making the coconut milk, you can use regular milk. You can also use another shortcut, which sometimes I do use when I'm in a hurry to make something, and that is using coconut milk powder. So you get these small sachets, you know, of coconut milk powder. You just use that with hot water and your coconut milk is ready. So that's really an easy alternative, rather than, you know, going through the gruesome process of grinding the coconut and extracting the milk. I mean, if you have all the time in the world and you have that much patience, you can do it, but otherwise this is the easiest method, you know, to use coconut milk powder. And you know, you can also use regular milk, like I said, or almond milk, or whatever milk you generally use when making your desserts. You've seen I've used turmeric leaves. That's because I have turmeric leaves growing in my window garden. But if you don't have turmeric leaves, it's okay, you can skip it out. But now during the monsoon season, you do get turmeric leaves, you know, easily available in the market, and they're really very you know, reasonable. Like you get about 5 big leaves for about 10 rupees. So that is, you know, if you can access it, then it's great, because this turmeric leaf adds a beautiful flavor, a very light and subtle but really beautiful flavor to this kheer. So if you can get your hands on it, there's nothing like it. But if you don't have it, it's fine, you can skip it. And thank you again, and take care of yourselves. You know, take care, be healthy, stay fit, and be loving and kind to one another. And I'll catch you soon in my next recipe, sooner than you think. This is Akshata signing off. Lots of love. Bye. Let's see today's delicious Goan sweet of Goan mandos. Super simple, guys. So now here I've taken 1 cup of rice. I'm adding it to a bowl. And now we got to wash this rice really well, thrice underwater. Now I'm just showing it to you, you know, over here. So just squeeze the rice. First you'll get a very murky kind of water like this. So just discard that. And then as you wash it, you know, thrice, you'll get a much clearer, you know, water. You can use any rice. And now after I kept the water, I'm going to add 3 cups of water, and I'm going to keep it aside for at least 8 hours. Now after 8 hours, we're going to drain out all the water from the rice. Now I'm going to add, now we're also going to be requiring 1 cup of freshly grated coconut. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and a pinch of salt. I'm going to add these ingredients to my mixer pot or mixer jar. And we're going to grind this using a little bit of water to make a nice fine paste or batter. Now I'm adding the sugar because I'm using organic jaggery. If you get your hands on Goa jaggery, there's nothing like it, then you can skip the sugar. But I'm using organic jaggery, which is not very sweet, so I'm adding a little bit of sugar. So if you're using the Goa jaggery, you don't need to add the sugar. Now I'm just going to add a little water at a time. So I've totally used about half a cup of water, and we're going to grind this to a very smooth batter. So our batter will look like this. So I'm just going to transfer this to a bowl, and then we have a few more ingredients which we need to add. So this is our batter. So now to this batter, just give it a small mix or a whisk. Now first I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder or elaichi powder. I've just taken about 4 small elaichis and pounded them in my mortar and pestle and whisked it well into the batter. Now I'm using 1 cup of organic jaggery because it's nice and dark and also good in taste, but it's not very sweet. That's why I added the sugar. Like I said, if you're using Goa jaggery, then you can skip the sugar. Now first mix it in well. Now we want all of the jaggery to dissolve really well. So I'm going to get my hands in and I'm just going to, dissolve all the jaggery. And then you get this dark batter. If you're using the Goa jaggery, you'll get an even darker color. Now I'm just going to add about 1/4 cup of broken cashew nuts. Now prepare your steamer at this time and put in enough water because we're going to steam this mandos for 45 minutes. So I've taken my cake tin and I've just greased it with a little bit of clarified butter or ghee. Pour in the batter. And now I'm going to steam it for exactly 45 minutes. So see that you have a lot of water in the steamer. Keep checking. Your steamer shouldn't dry up. And after 45 minutes, your mandos is all ready. Just take it out of the steamer and set it aside to cool completely before we demold it. Let it cool for an hour at least. And after an hour, just run your knife through the edges like this. Put a plate on top of it, overturn it, just tap it down a bit. You can feel the mandos, slipping down easily. And see the cake tin is also nice and clean, and it's all ready. So now you can just cut it up into any desired shape. Generally they cut it up into long rectangles like this, which I'll show you. So use a very sharp knife and just slide it down like this and like this, and then you can just shape it up, and that's it.
So friends, let's see today's Goan Moong gourd share. It's very simple. So let me take you through the ingredients. Now here I have 1 cup of cooked moong. I will leave the instructions of how I prepare it. Half a cup of grated jaggery. Now here I'm using Goa jaggery or Jaggery. 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom powder and a little bit of salt, just about a pinch of salt or a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And this is half a cup of coconut milk. I will leave a recipe of how I make my coconut milk at home. Now I'm going to add all of the ingredients to a pan. Now for this moong, what I've done is I've just washed the moong really well and then soaked it for about 4 to 5 hours, even more than that, and then just pressure cooked it on 1 whistle on high and then simmered it for about 5 minutes. And then let the cooker cook and then your moong is ready. Now you can also use sprouted moong for this recipe, but I'm just going with regular moong. So now you're just going to mix everything till the mixture thickens. This is a lovely evening snack. It's so healthy. It's made with jaggery and moong, so it's really good. So do try out this recipe, guys.
So wasn't that a real simple recipe? Now a few tips to keep in mind is that soak the jaggery for a good amount of time in the hot water for about at least 30 minutes, because then it will dissolve and then the water also comes to room temperature. So if there are any particles like you saw me doing, I just crush them with my fingers. You want a very clear kind of a liquid. Also use fresh coconut so that the coconut is not frozen or it's not stale. It should be nice and freshly grated. About a day or two maximum. Don't use very stale coconut. Also, we are going to be using whole wheat flour, which is very healthy, which we use for our chapatis every day and rotis every day. Now the consistency, like you saw, it has to be a very thick consistency. It shouldn't be runny and it shouldn't be a dough consistency. So it should be like when you make, I guess, Goan. If you all know what is Goan, it has to be of that consistency. Wherein, you can just pick it up and press it, put it down on your pan, and then, take a little bit of water and just press it down. Now, if you're a new beginner and you want to make this and you're scared of putting your hand onto the flame, the easiest thing you can do is you can take some butter paper or some grease paper, wet that a little bit, and then with your hand just, thapofy it on top. So you take a big piece of butter paper, press it down on that Goan, and then press it with your hands. That way your hands won't come in touch with the paper directly. The thing is that I'm using pure ghee or clarified ghee. Don't use oil, because then the entire taste of this recipe will get totally changed. So use ghee. Ghee is easily available in stores. And put a little bit of ghee, not too much, because then when you're pressing down the water, it does splatter. So just be careful a little bit. And then just put a little bit of ghee on the top, and you can have this as all by itself, actually, with a cup of tea, or you can have it with some pickle or whatever. Friends, and welcome back to Akshatas's Recipes. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today we're going to make Goan godache fov, which is Poha. In Konkani it's called fov, F-O-V. And it's this beautiful light dish which has not much preparation, has no oil. It's just made with very few ingredients that we have in our kitchens. So let's go ahead and make this beautiful recipe.
So friends, let's see today's lovely recipe. It's super easy. Now here I'm using the medium poha, but you have to use the thick poha or the medium one. I'll explain it to you at the end of the video. Now here I've taken a colander or a sieve or a sift, and I'm going to wash and rinse this poha under running water really well. Just run your fingers through it, see that all of it gets coated and rinsed with the running water. And once we do that, we're just going to set this aside in the colander itself for 15 minutes. So just set it aside for 15 minutes. Then it becomes nice and soft and puffed up. So this is a no cook recipe, no oil, nothing used. Now here I'm grating half a cup of coconut. We just need half a cup of coconut for this recipe. Now I'm going to add this cup of coconut to a large plate. Here I have half a cup of goa, the jaggery that I've grated. If you don't have get this jaggery, you can use regular jaggery that you have at hand. I'm going to add just a quarter teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we are going to mix all of this really well together. Now, if you have granules of the jaggery, just crush them up along, with your fingertips till everything gets really nicely mixed up. So now we are going to add the poha to the other ingredients, and again we're going to mix everything really well. Now since we're using goa jaggery, so the entire mixture should be nicely coated with the goa jaggery so that you don't have any white color left. So that way it gets nicely mixed up. And that's it, guys. It's all ready to enjoy with a nice hot cup of tea.
Really simple. Now just a few tips is that you have to use this thick poha, not the thin poha. You get thick, medium and thin. You can go for the medium or the thick, not the thin poha. Now you have to, like I showed you in the video, you got to wash the poha in a strainer. You don't have to soak it in water. Just wash it really well under running water thrice, and then just keep it aside for about 10 to 15 minutes till it nicely puffs up. Then you got to take the Goa jaggery. Now if you don't get your hands on Goa jaggery, you can use your regular jaggery that you have at home, the yellowish or brownish color one. Just grate it very well, because that will help, in it mixing really well with the coconut and the salt. And that's about it. So it's a very easy recipe. It's pretty healthy. It's a nice, evening kind of a snack with tea, or in the morning for a light breakfast. So today we're going to make this lovely Goan sweet called Pinaca. And it is really, really simple and easy recipe. Now here I have about 200 grams or 1 cup of Goa jaggery. Now I'm just going to take a knife and I'm just going to grate it like this. You can also use a cheese grater. It's very easy to do it. It just, you can immediately grate it. It's very, very simple. Now this Goa jaggery is palm jaggery. So I'm using this regular cup to measure all my ingredients. So this is exactly 1 cup. And I'm also going to be using 1 cup of rice flour along with 1 cup of desiccated coconut. Now you could use fresh coconut too for this recipe. I'm also going to be using 1 teaspoon of cardamom or elaichi powder, which is freshly ground, and about a 1/4 cup of water. Now here I've just heated up a pan. And to this pan, we're going to add our Goa jaggery as well as the water. Now we're just going to stir this on a low flame, low to medium flame, till all of our jaggery completely melts. It doesn't take more than 2 to 3 minutes, but you have to continuously stir the mixture. Now, with regard to the rice flour, I'm using roasted rice flour, which I do get in my general store. But the other way is you just take regular rice, roast it, and then when it cools down, completely grind it and strain it. So you can do that, or if you get roasted rice flour, which is easily available in some stores, you can use that. So I'm using the roasted rice flour. So now it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for the entire mixture to smoothen up like this. Ensure that there are no lumps of the jaggery. Now once it completely dissolves, we're going to add our elaichi powder or our cardamom powder and mix it in well. Now we're going to add the desiccated coconut, or if you're using fresh coconut, it's time to add the fresh coconut, and you're going to mix it completely into the jaggery till you don't see any white specks. That means our coconut is completely mixed up with our jaggery. Now once that is done and you find that the coconut has mixed, just add a little bit of our roasted rice flour, a little at a time. Mix everything in well till you get a nice dark brown mixture and there's no white left. Even if a little bit of white is left, it's okay, because once our mixture cools down, we are going to knead the mixture completely. So now once everything is done, just let the mixture completely cool down to room temperature, and then we're just going to knead it a bit. And what I've done is I've just taken a little bit of clarified butter or ghee on the palm of my hands, and I'm just going to knead this mixture a bit. And then I've just taken a little bit of desiccated coconut and kept it in a plate, and I'm just going to form the Pinaca shape, which is like a small croquet. So we're just going to form it like this. And now I am dipping it in or rolling it in some desiccated coconut. That is completely optional, but it looks very pretty. So just spread out the desiccated coconut a bit and then just roll it into the mixture. And then just flatten the edges a bit. And that's it. So this recipe was requested by my regular viewer and someone who's really so sweet and who really sends me lovely comments and messages, and that is Pearl D'Souza. So Pearl, you had asked me for my version of the Goan sweet called Pinagra or Pinaca. So this is it. So do try it out and let me know how you liked it. So this is what we're going to do with the rest of the dough. And with these measures of the ingredients that I've used, I got exactly 9 pinagras or pinaca. It's a very easy sweet to make and it tastes simply delicious. So as far as the Goa jaggery, do let me know in Mumbai, wherever you're staying, whether you can, from where do you source your Goa jaggery? Because I got mine from Nature's Basket. It's called palm sugar. So it is Goa jaggery, because once I tasted it, I just knew, okay, this is Goa jaggery, because I have had a lot of Goa jaggery. During my childhood, whenever we used to go to Goa, my mom and dad used to always pick up Goa jaggery, and it comes in this typical pyramid form. So I got mine from Nature's Basket, but if any of you all know where in Mumbai or Bombay we can get this, then please leave it in the comment section below. It'll be really helpful for our viewers and for anyone who's really looking to use Goa jaggery. So that's it, friends. It's such an easy recipe. It hardly had any ingredients. And like I said, if you want to use the ready-made roasted rice flour, you can do that. Otherwise, just take rice, the regular rice that you use at your home, just roast it a bit in a pan, let it cool down, completely grind it, and then just sieve it. You need to sieve it, otherwise it will not come to the right consistency. So I hope you guys try out this recipe and do let me know in the comment section as to how it turned out and how you liked it. And stay tuned to Akshata's recipes. There's a lots more coming up. I have many recipes to share. So stay tuned, and of course subscribe to my channel. Once you subscribe, hit the bell, because that way whenever I put up a new recipe, you'll get a message for the same, so you won't miss out anything happening on my channel. So they formed so well that it's so easy to break it up, and it's simply delicious. Now here I've taken 1 cup of rice. I'm going to add this to a bowl, and I'm going to wash the rice thrice under running water really well. So squeeze the rice out in the water. First you'll get a very murky water, and with every wash the water gets clearer. So wash the rice thrice. Now once we're done with the rice, I'm going to do the same thing with half a cup of chana dal. Just add that to the bowl, wash it thrice. And now I'm going to soak the rice as well as the chana dal. The rice I'm going to soak in 3 cups of water and the chana dal in 2 cups of water for about 8 hours. This is very important. You can even soak it overnight, but 8 hours should be sufficient. Now after 8 hours, you're going to drain out all the water from the dal and the rice, and you're going to add this to a pressure pan. Now I'm going to add about 4 cups of water to the pressure pan, and we're going to pressure cook this for 1 whistle on high and then simmer it or cook it on a very low flame for 10 minutes, and then put off the gas and let the cooker cool completely. Now after the pressure cooker cools down, you can open it and you can see that the dal and the rice is nicely cooked. So now I can show you all the other ingredients. There are very few other ingredients required for this gourd. Now here I have 1 cup of coconut milk, 1 cup of jaggery, you can use the Goa jaggery, 1 teaspoon of cardamom, and these are 2 turmeric leaves, which is optional, and just a pinch of salt. Now I'm going to cook this in my pressure pan because it is a heavy bottom pan. Now I haven't turned the flame on of the gas yet, but I'm going to mash the dal and the rice a bit, and I'm going to add the coconut milk and again mash it up just a little. Not completely, it shouldn't become into like a porridge, but just a little bit mash up the rice and the dal. Now we haven't turned on the gas or the flame or the heat yet. So mash up everything a little bit, and now we're going to turn on the heat. Now we're going to add the other ingredients, that is the jaggery. Next I'm going to add the elaichi powder or the cardamom powder. I've just used 1 teaspoon, or you can use 4 cloves, and a pinch of salt. Now I'm going to keep my flame from low to medium, and I'm going to mix all the ingredients really well together. Now this gourd is a delicious anytime snack, goes well with a cup of tea or even a sweet after a meal. Now after cooking this for about 5 minutes, stirring in between, you will see that the jaggery has all melted and you get a lovely dark color. Now if you're using Goa jaggery, you'll get a beautiful dark brown color. Now I'm going to add the turmeric leaves, which is completely optional, but I have a small little plant in my kitchen window with my turmeric leaves, so I'm adding it for that lovely flavor. And after cooking this for another 5 minutes on a low to medium flame, it starts to thicken. So keep stirring in between and you will see that it thickens up really quickly and it will start leaving the sides of the pan. Now in the meantime, I'm just going to grease a tray, or you can even use the back of a steel plate, a large steel plate. So I'm just greasing this pan that I have, and now you can see that everything has come together and it has really thickened. So this took me a total of 20 minutes. Now I'm going to transfer this to my greased tray, which is actually a pie tray with a removable base, but you can use any steel thali or even a cake pan. And now I'm going to just even it out or flatten the top. So I'm just using the back of a vati. You can even use a small glass, heavy glass, just to press it down. And now we're going to let it completely cool for 2 hours. I have refrigerated it for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, you'll see that the whole thing comes together very well. And now we're just going to demold it. And they're going to cut it up into whatever desired shape. You can cut it up into triangles, into squares. But I like this lovely triangular kind of a pie shape. And you can see that everything has really come together really well. So I hope you'll give this recipe a try and let me know in the comments section how you like it. I will catch you in my next video. This is Akshata signing off. Bye. So here I have 100 grams of broken wheat called Dalia or Lapshi Rava. It's easily available in general stores and is very reasonable too. Now here I have half a cup of Goa jaggery, also called palm jaggery or made gourd. I've just grated it using a cheese grater. Now I'm also going to be using half a cup of sugarcane jaggery or the general, yellow jaggery that you get in stores. This is 1 cup of thick coconut milk, about 3/4 of a teaspoon of cardamom or elaichi powder. I've just used 3 cardamoms and ground them to a fine powder after peeling it. And 1/4 cup of chopped nuts. That is, I've used cashew nuts and almonds. And we're going to use about 3 or 4 teaspoons of ghee or clarified butter. So let's start with today's lovely recipe. Now I'm going to first heat a pan and I'm going to add this dalia or broken wheat, and we're going to dry roast this for at least 5 whole minutes on a low to medium flame, stirring continuously. So don't leave it unattended, but just stir it continuously. This is very important, so don't skip this step. We need to roast this dalia really well. Now you'll see after 5 to 10 minutes it will change, after 5 minutes rather, it will change into a little darker brown color. Now I'm going to add the thick coconut milk and we're going to stir the two really well together. Now this coconut milk is going to cook the dalia. It's very similar like when you're making something with rava. You add the milk and you let it cook. Now we're going to add the lovely flavor of the Goa jaggery and also the sugarcane jaggery. So now we're going to mix this well till the jaggery nicely melts and mixes up with the rest of the mixture. That's very important. And you will see that as it starts cooking, you'll get this lovely dark brown color. As the Goa jaggery starts cooking with the rest of the ingredients, you'll get a lovely dark color to this dosa bhaji or lapshi. Now we're going to add the cardamom powder or the elaichi powder. So I've just peeled 3 cardamoms and then ground it in my mortar and pestle to a very fine powder, or you can use ready-made elaichi powder. Now I'm just going to add a few drops of ghee, say about 3 or 4 teaspoons of clarified butter or ghee. This will enhance the flavor of the dish as well as give it a lovely texture. And now I'm just going to stir the mixture on a low to medium heat, stirring continuously for about 5 to 7 minutes. And you will see that the consistency of this mixture will turn, it will change. It will start thickening, and then you'll get this ghee on the edges. Just scrape it off and get it to the center like I'm doing when I'm stirring, like that. And just keep stirring continuously. Don't leave it unattended. You can control the heat by making it from low to medium to high, and then after some time, after 5 to 7 minutes, you'll see that the whole thing has come together like this. And our those bhaji is ready. You can put the flame off, and now I'm just brushing a plate. You can also use a mold or a bowl, and I'm just going to transfer this into that bowl, and you can see how thick the mixture has become. And now with the spatula, I'm just going to flatten the top using any flat, you can use a vati also or a spatula like this. And now all we have to do is just garnish it with some chopped nuts. Now I've used cashew nuts and almonds, but you can use any dry fruits or nuts of your choice. I've just chopped them up roughly, and I'm just going to garnish it with the chopped nuts. And then we have to refrigerate this for at least 2 to 3 hours till it sets nicely, because then we're going to cut it up into whatever desired shape and serve it. So this is really delicious, and it's also very healthy. So I'm going to put it into my refrigerator to set for about 2 to 3 hours or even longer. You can even keep it overnight, and you will see after 2 to 3 hours it nicely thickens and sets really well. And now we're just going to cut it up. So I'm cutting it up just into 4s. You can even cut it up into squares. If you're putting it into a square mold, the choice is yours. And you can see that it's nice and all ready to eat. So give this recipe a try, guys.